So, 11 months ago now was when I first started looking for a service dog, almost to the day, actually. Um, and I still might not have found one, um, but tomorrow I am going to go to a rescue that my trainer already checked out the dog there and temperament tested him, and he's clear and good to go. And I might be bringing home my new service dog. Um, I've been on trips like this to the past to other rescues to look at other dogs. There have been, I think, three that I was really hopeful for. The first was when I went to see him, volunteers took him to an adoption event without telling anyone there. So they departed with the dog I wanted to see about 10 minutes before I arrived, and it was a hour drive with my dad to get to this farm in the middle of nowhere to see this dog. And so that was really unfortunate, and he got adopted before I managed to get down to see him again. And no one told me until the day of, when I was confirming my appointment with them, and they said, "Oh yeah, that dog's been adopted. Would you like to see another dog?" Which, when I'd first gone down there and drove an hour down there, I told them, no, I don't. It's this dog that was cleared by my trainer. I'm not interested in seeing another dog. And then there was the second dog that seemed to be good for service work, but was very dog aggressive. And since I have Bronca already and my parents have Misha, having a dog that was only going to tolerate dogs in public access in very specific circumstances, it just wasn't going to work. And there were many other dogs that I met, I saw on Pet Finder, that my trainer looked at, that my trainer told me, "Oh, I'm going to see this dog," and then later followed up with, here's the fault with this dog, or something like that. And I just want to say that the dogs that, if you can hear the dogs that are barking right now, those aren't any of my two lovely dogs. Those are all the neighbors' dogs. And part of the reason why I'm really nervous now is that, it's been a year since I started this journey, almost. And that has to do with it, that anniversary. But then also it has to do with my parents aren't here right now. I'm taking care of the house by myself. They're off on vacation. And so I'm going to be taking the train down. It's an 8-hour train ride. There and back is 8 hours, not 8 hours one way. And I'm going to be doing that all by myself. And that's the real reason I'm making this video today, was I wanted to talk about, I'm not bringing Bronca, for a couple of reasons. One is, she really, really does not like trains, and I don't want to put her in that circumstance where she's going to be very unhappy and very uncomfortable for a very long time. I've taken her on the train from my parents' house back to school a couple of times, and that's only a 40-minute train ride. And by the last 10 minutes, she's had enough, that poor dog. So I don't want to take her on a train ride that's 4 hours, until she sort of gets a break. And then also, I might have to take the dog I will be adopting back on the train. And oh my God, I do not want to deal with the two dogs on the train. And I'll be doing that with my emotional support animal letter from my therapist. I won't be saying, "Oh, this dog I just adopted is my service dog." He'll be a prospect. He won't in any way have service dog protection. I thought filming out here where it's beautiful and the sun is shining and it's summer would be a good idea. There was a hummingbird, but no, there's just leaf blowing happening. Actually, it's sawing. The neighbors are doing some construction. So I guess I'll talk a bit about this dog. He's a lab mountain dog mix. Um, 50 pounds, 11 months old, neutered male. Um, not, not a dog I would have picked personally, just because I really like the long haired dogs. I like the bigger dogs. But a beautiful boy, and I'm not going to judge him until I see him. And I've always said, even if, my trainer picks out the ugliest dog in the world and says, this is a dog that's going to work for service work, I'm not going to say no just because, I don't think he's a looker or anything. And I think the age is perfect. I've wanted to push it as young as possible, but I cannot handle a puppy. I'm living in a dorm room. I'm living in a dorm room with a dog that's already like 55, 60 pounds, so I'm not going to handle that and a tiny puppy that needs to be taken out every single hour, especially when art classes are 3 hours long. I don't know how it is for other majors, but our classes are 3 hours long every single day except Friday. We have at least one 3-hour long class, and most days we have 2 3-hour long classes. So that was just not going to work with training a puppy and caring for a puppy. And of course, since we're getting our dogs through a shelter system, it's very difficult to find a puppy that has the temperament sort of for the work, because I'm not super familiar with how temperament testing them goes, but you want a dog that's past being a puppy as much as possible and has sort of settled into that adult behavior, both because training a puppy is a pain in the ass, but then also so you have a good idea of like, who is this dog when you test them. And so for all those reasons, I feel really good about this dog. I have all these emotions about going and seeing him all by myself. And so I guess the topic for this video is, when you're like me and you're disabled and you're going to be traveling, how do you take care of yourself? Like, I know I'm going to be pushing myself. I bet I'm going to have a meltdown or a shutdown or a dissociative episode. I know it's probably going to happen. I don't know what's going to cause it. I don't know why or where, any of that. But just how do I prepare myself for something that I know is going to be this stressful? And so for me, I found out about this 6 hours ago at about noon, and it's 6 o'clock now. I worked out my train schedule exactly, which is a big deal because here the trains are all messed up. There's construction work going on a lot of the stations, so I would, the station I want to get on, I would get on a bus and be bused to another station. I'll ride on that station for a couple stops, and then I'll get off and get on a bus and be bused to a third station. And I'm not looking forward to doing that at all. And then I'll be taking the train into the city. And then I have 2 or 3 hours layaway, and I couldn't, just with the way the trains were scheduled, I couldn't schedule this another way. If it wasn't, I heard about this dog today and now I'm going tomorrow, I would have been able to schedule this better. But I have a 3-hour just stop at the train station in the city. And then I'm going to get on a different train by a different train company, which I actually like this other company better, even though I've never ridden on any of their trains before, because they have a adult disability discount, which I'm a little nervous about because, it says ID required, and, when you get the student discount, it says student discount ID required, which is pretty self-explanatory, like they want a student ID. But then when you have adult disability, it says disability ID required. And I'm like, I don't have an ID that lists all my disabilities. So I have no idea what's up with that. And it's also really uncomfortable because I have sensory processing disorder, and to lay people, I just tell them, I'm hard of hearing. because they understand that, and it's really similar. And like, I don't want to explain to the waiter why I need her to repeat something 3 times or whatever. I don't want to get into it. And so I don't know, like, if I'm just gonna put my earplugs in, and just sort of fake that to be left alone, because that was one of the disabilities. They said, like, are you this? They said, are you blind? Are you deaf? Are you something else? And I picked something else because I'm, like, so many things. I'm disabled in so many ways that, like, but anyway, like, that just seems like it'll be good for my sensory processing disorder. It'll help me not have a shutdown, and it'll also hopefully get, people to leave me the F alone. But I'm nervous about that, so I just sorted that out. I bought that ticket, which is nice that it was like $4 instead of $8 or whatever. I bought that ticket. I have tickets already for the train into the city, just because I take that train a lot. So I already have that worked out. I looked at restaurants in the train stop I'll be hanging out at for 3 hours, and I picked where I'm going to eat. I, put in the right amount of money in my wallet, which I don't usually carry cash, just because of, one of my disability things means that I have a really difficult time handling cash and paying the right amounts and getting change, and people screw me over with my change all the time, and I'm just so fed up with it that I just don't carry cash anymore. And I'm just, like, really nervous. So there's that. There's preparing. I'm working on packing my bag. I printed my adoption application. I printed my train ticket. Sort of all these things I've already done. I'll be bringing my comfort animal. I'll be bringing my phone. I'll make sure my phone, and then I have Bluetooth headsets. I'll make sure that's fully charged. Excuse me. So that way, like, I can listen to music and hopefully try to feel calm, or listen to meditations and feel calm. I think I'll definitely bring something, I don't know what yet, to the train station for my stop there to interact with, so I don't get bored, so I don't get overwhelmed. I might bring a computer and play a video game, and I'll definitely have to bring some ginger so I don't get too motion sick or something like that. And I'm, I've just been planning this out for the past 6 hours. And that's sort of the one big thing for me, when knowing I'm going to be doing something like this that's going to be incredibly huge, is to just plan it all out. And of course that leaves me vulnerable to, oh, it didn't go the way I planned, and now I'm going to have a meltdown. But, like, that's better than just being worried about it and then going off the cuff and having no idea what I'm doing. It makes me more likely to miss a train, to miss a bus, something like that. So it's definitely a trade-off. Packing the things I'll need, doing all that in advance. And then sort of the rest of my night, I have basically 2 hours until I can reasonably force myself to go to sleep and wake up and then deal with this in the morning. I'm gonna take a shower. I've trained with my dogs already today, but I'll make sure they both have a nice walk. And I'll just really, part of this is I've also been in a really, like, emotional place for the past couple days. There's been a lot of work I've been doing around the house. I'm packing up. I've unpacked all my stuff from college, and then I'm going through it and getting rid of a lot of stuff, like downsizing, and then I'm repacking it all. Oh my god, that's so much work. It's killing me. And it also just made a huge mess everywhere in the house. Like, every room has my junk in it, just because of the way my sorting process works. Well, not like every room, like my parents' bedroom, my mom's office, my brother's bedroom. That stuff is all untouched because, like, I don't go in there. But that means that, like, the spaces I like the family room, my room, etc., are just a huge mess, and hanging out in there doesn't make me feel happy or comfortable or relaxed. But I also like don't have the spoons to take care of it. So yeah, like the struggle right now is just finding something that I can really relax and that will give me spoons. And these things in the past have been video games and Netflix and etc. But since I've been in like such an emotionally icky place lately, I've like been using that coping mechanism so much that it just doesn't work. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. Yeah, I just really have no idea. It feels kind of icky. And I'm scared. I'm really scared to do this, like, all by myself. But I'm gonna do my best. And that's what matters.